So you knew each other? No.
We'll call this council meeting to order for July the 10th, 2023. If you would stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance and then invocation by Councilman Wolf.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together this night. Lord, thank you for the families represented here. Lord, thank you for our community. Lord, just guide us and direct us as we work to do the work of the city, Lord. Lord, we just love you and thank you. Ask you to forgive us our sins. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And I want to say what a great job I heard from the audience on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Yeah. Public comment pursuant to section 2-46 of the Code of Ordinance of the Town of Fort Mill, any citizen of the town may appear before council for the purpose of providing public comment on any municipal matter except personnel matters. Those who wish to speak must sign in outside council chambers prior to the start of the meeting. Citizens will be given 3 minutes each to speak. Dave, we have anybody signed in?
No, sir, we do not. We need to do the minutes, Ronnie.
We'll close public comment. Move on to presentation number one.
We need to do minutes.
Approve the minutes.
Oh, okay. We'll move to the minutes. We had a council meeting of June the 26th and July the 23rd.
I had some questions. Dave, you're sitting over here. We obviously we deferred on the initial meeting and reconvened on the 26th to talk about the prioritization of the pennies. It does not reflect our vote on that. We reprioritized on that date, and I don't see those reflected in the minutes.
Okay, we'll update those and bring those back to you.
Okay. So do we want to set that aside, or
Yeah, you
defer that one till the next meeting?
Defer approval of the minutes till the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I make a motion to defer the minutes for the June 26th meeting till the next meeting.
Second.
All those approve?
Aye.
All those disapprove?
And do you want to take up the
next one,
July
there's,
3rd minutes?
Yeah.
Could be.
yeah, we can do that one.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the draft minutes from July 3rd.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, now, move on to presentation. Presentation number one, recognition of the Fort Mill 8U softball team winning the inaugural 8U softball championship, Davy Broom.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. This is a very special presentation tonight, and I would like to ask head coach Gerard Webb to join me here at the podium, if you will. So as is stated in the agenda, we are here to recognize the Fort Mill 8U softball team. On Saturday, June the 17th at the York Recreation Complex, the Fort Mill 8U softball team went undefeated in the York County All-Star Tournament and won the inaugural 8U softball championship. They had the following wins: 19-5 over Clover, 24-18 over York, and 14-2 win over York in the championship game. So this is very special because this is actually the first ever 8U softball all-star team for the town of Fort Mill. And these girls have represented the town well. So what we would like to do tonight is recognize these fine players and support staff on their outstanding achievement. So what we'll do, I've asked Coach Webb to introduce the players, and Virginia and I will have them line up front. We'll present them a certificate of appreciation, and as well as the coaches and support team, and then we'll provide the coaches with a certificate as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Coach Webb.
Thank you, sir.
When I call your name, where would you like for them to
We'll have them line up front, please.
line up when your name is called?
Just like in batting order.
Isabella DePaula. Kaylin Kumarowski. Adelaide Mari. Caroline Massey. She's not here tonight. Grace Mercado. Sissy Scott. Milan Walther. Carmen Webb. And we have some players that didn't make it tonight. We have Hannah Ponder, Anna Porcelino, Caroline Massey, and Charlie Thompson. They were on the team as well, but they weren't able to make it tonight.
Congratulations, lady. You here with other coaches or? So,
Y'all just wait.
Except for Greg. Greg's not.
some members of council, I also like to recognize the coaches again. Gerard Webb is the head coach. We have assistant coaches Shannon Maury and Frank DePaula in the audience. If y'all would like to come up as well so we can take a photo with y'all. And assistant coach Greg Ponder was unable to attend tonight.
There you go.
There you go.
And, no team can achieve everything that they can possibly achieve without the help of a support team. So I also like to recognize dugout mom Crystal Webb, dugout mom Cassidy Webb, as well as the bat boy Isaiah Webb. And as an acknowledgement of achievement, I'd like to present to Coach Webb all the players and our appreciation for them representing the town of Fort Mill as 8U All-Star Softball Champions. All right.
And I know each of our high schools are looking forward to these girls. They're already eyeing for more state championships. Yes.
Some very proud parents here too.
Congratulations, team.
Yes. And parents, yes.
And parents, yeah.
I'm gonna say that dugout mom is the roughest position. Whoever did that one, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Congratulations.
Good night.
Good job, ladies.
And gentlemen.
Presentation number 2, financial update, Shante Bowler.
Top that. You want us to sign your
The author.
presentation after you're done?
Sure. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of council, we come this afternoon or this evening, I should say, to give you an update on our financials as it relates to our operation accounts. We are 9 months into the budget year, which puts us at about 75%. And I must say that thus far, we are faring well, and that our funds are close to or below the target. We provided to you some detail on each of the funds, and hopefully that would answer any questions that you may have regarding any spikes in any budget line items. And so we'll just proceed on with some general information as it relates to each fund. In the general fund, our revenues to date are 87% compared to budget, and our expenditures to date are 57% compared to budget. So we are currently in a surplus state in the general fund. In our gross revenue fund, we're closer to the target at about 75.1% as it relates to the revenues compared to budget, and 44% as it relates to the expenditures. And in this fund as well, we are currently experiencing a surplus. In our stormwater fund, we have exceeded our budget as it relates to revenues. We are at 101% of budget and about 58% expenditure-wise as it relates to budget. I am happy to entertain any questions that you may have at this time concerning the operational accounts.
Chantal, thank you for providing the information, and especially the spreadsheets. I wanted to go through that. And the footnotes, obviously you've highlighted anything beyond 75 since we're at the 75th percentile. So that's, thanks for clarification on that. And I thought the notes were very appropriate, explaining where the deviants were, so that you can look into that. And a lot of them is kind of interesting. You know, it's we're at 50% over, but it was a $50 budget, and it would cost us, you know, $75 or something like that. So I didn't see anything that in particular gave me heartburn. Like I said, I appreciate the footnotes, and well done.
As we look at the unemployment issues or trying to backfill for personnel, that always seems to be one of the big swings when we're missing what our projections are, usually because we haven't been able to backfill a role. How do we look at that as a whole, and how's that impacting the budget so far?
I will defer to Mr. Broom on that one.
For that, I mean, we have to budget for a full staff every year.
Yeah.
And our goal is to fill every position as quickly as possible. We do that by posting positions, by advertising on various websites, whether it's the Municipal Association website, the South Carolina Association of Counties website. We've even started going through contracted services for temporary help or contract to hire type situations, just to fill roles that are, especially ones of important need. So as we fill those, that comes off the bottom line for that line item, budget line item. Outside of that, during time periods where we have not been able to fill some of these positions, it reflects in the budget as though, money's not being spent. Right. So it fluctuates, but really just fluctuates based on the number of staff that we have during this budget year. And that's all really all I can say. It just fluctuates from time to time. But every position that's out there we've advertised for, we're trying to fill each and every one.
I understand that. I mean, that's the same story each year. But are we getting closer or better at what we're doing? We put a lot more out to try to be more attractive, added more funds to the budget, looking at making sure we don't lose people, that we're retaining the staff we have. When it comes specifically to the budget, do you feel like you've had the tools you needed so far, and the budget's not a reason, salary and so forth, for the lack of being able to fill these roles? And so if you're not spending the whole budget because you haven't filled the roles, do you have the tools you need to fill them? It's just a matter you can't find the right people to
It's
fill
the
them.
finding the right people, because we're utilizing tools that didn't particularly budget for last year. We didn't, at the time of the budget, we really didn't expect to have to work through headhunters to find certain positions or applicants for positions. So the monies that we knew that we had not spent in this line item has helped cover the cost for those types of tools.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you've
so
got what you
We're
need.
utilizing every tool we need, yes, absolutely.
All right.
I have a question. Oh, if you're,
You're fine.
Yeah, so I'm looking, Shantae, at the write-up here, the general fund. When the MASC collections total, what funds are those coming from? Like, is that
So-
insurance?
The town works through an arrangement with the municipal association to collect certain taxes for us.
Right.
There are 4 different types of taxes that they collect for us: broker's tax, insurance tax, telecommunications tax, and insurance tax. So businesses falling in those areas have to report directly to the municipal association, and then they funnel back what belongs to us. And routinely, about this time of the month, is when we see a sizable chunk of that collections coming in.
And the 88,000 from York County, that's just money that they provided to the town for recreational?
Yes, sir. The county decided, I guess last year, to give us our allotment in halves. We got some back in July, August timeframe last year. We got half of it. And then we got the remaining half in this fiscal year. And so together, it was $160-some thousand that they gave to the town for recreational purposes.
Right. I know there's been recent discussions with the funding that the county just recently voted on. We think that with more being appropriated towards, let's say, Lake Wiley than Fort Mill, do we see an impact on county residents right outside of the town? Or are we still going to be able to service them?
I believe the new agreement, town actually is receiving more funds this year than in last year.
Okay, good.
We did not lose out on any funds.
Okay.
And just to clarify, since you brought this up, so that money comes for the county residents using our facilities, and our Browns here, so that's what that allotment is for, right?
There is a tax on York County residents that the citizens of Fort Mill do not pay that tax for recreation. So York County levies a tax against the unincorporated areas of York County for recreational purposes, and then they provide money to municipalities in the county that offer recreation opportunities, program opportunities to York County citizens to come join our program. And we have a marginal, they pay the same price as our inside city rate for our programming purposes. So it keeps the cost down for county residents, if you will, to take part in municipal sports.
I had a question on the facade grant. It looks like we had 15 budgeted, 15,000, only 5's been spent so far. So we've got 10,000 remaining. Do we have any applications pending for that? That's exactly what I'm asking, is have we done that? Was there an adjustment made to pull from contingency funds, or at what time would that have been made?
We have not done that.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet because the bottom line hasn't changed, but the money would be there in contingency. We make sure we don't overspend the contingency to cover what's the difference in what we spent in this line item.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Is this under the general fund?
General fund, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, we're 10 points under expenditures in the general fund. We're 64% total expenditure, so we're on the 75 percentile. We're good overall. That's
Yes, sir.
Dave, the only question I had was on the landfill cost with the additional expense there. Can you kind of explain what's going on there?
The landfill costs have increased as well. And so when we put our budget together, typically starting in the May timeframe, we're basing our anticipated cost for landfill services based on the prior year. We had a little bit of funding to it just in case there's some increase in cost. We try to factor in as well as any additional, the addition of services as far as number of new homes coming online. Again, it kind of it fluctuates a little bit based on you charge by tonnage in landfill costs. So you know, it's not an exact science, but we try to get as close as we can.
Gotcha.
The landfill costs have increased, and you'll see that in the upcoming budget discussions for 2023-24. They're really increased, and so we're having to address those in next year's budget. Right now, everything costs more, and what we anticipated in some of these line items, we're really close to that line right now, if not already over.
Would there be a need for a rate adjustment to try to cover costs, so we're not, paying for all the?
Yes, we're working through that right now to determine if a rate adjustment would be needed for next year.
Last year, we had supply chain issues with vehicles. Have we been able to resolve most of that? And the vehicles we needed that had to carry over, have they been purchased and acquired?
Everything's been purchased. I think we've made very good headway on acquiring the vehicles from last year. There still may be some vehicles that we purchased or ordered in this current year that might not have been received yet. So the supply chain we're still behind on that. I think sitting through some of the budget discussions with department heads, there are some items out there that they're still waiting to get. Some items that they've already been told by the vendor that they will not receive it before October 1st. So we know that we're going to have to move some more vehicles or equipment into next year's budget.
Car manufacturers are actually canceling orders that were placed a year ago. They're just canceling the order, starting over.
And for those that bring over, you bring that budgeted money from the previous year over.
Well, we closed the year and then we rebudgeted.
Right.
In the
I saw
new
where you
year.
brought some in from the last budget cycle to deal with those vehicles.
In the budgeting meetings we were talking, or months ago, we talked about some of the technology, some of the lines for computers. Didn't look like much had been spent from those budgets, or that's something we can't really get behind on. Are there needs for, has it been assessed maybe by the different departments as to new computers they need, or laptops or monitors or desktops and things?
Yes, our IT staff, our IT administrators stay on top of that. Matter of fact, just approved a requisition today for some computers as well. So they're working with the department heads whenever they need any kind of technology-related items that are within the budget. We address those immediately.
Yes, we're going through that at our office, trying to get old, slow machines out and get new things in. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
One last thing with the vehicles, and to your point, are we having to sometimes go out of the state? We get a great rate from the state contract for vehicles. Do we have any issues with that, or in having to purchase things? Do we ever, if there's an emergency from a regular dealer outside of that state contract?
We do. We have a tremendous procurement manager, Philip Aycock. I think y'all have met him.
He does a good job.
We have had to. Sometimes the state contract doesn't offer some of the vehicles or equipment that we are looking for. So
Right.
We will put out a RFQ or RFP for whatever that may be, whether it's equipment or vehicles. And we have had to put out our own for vehicles just based on we felt like we could get a better deal rather than the state contract. And it has worked well for us in the past.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Are there any grants that we have in here? I didn't see any specifically called out that way, but I know sometimes it gets coded a little bit different. Do we have any grants that we've received that we were budgeting for or hoping for?
Not on the general fund side, because we are continuing with projects on the gross revenue side or the water and sewer side. We did get another grant from RIA, the state agency, to assist with the Archie Street pump station project,
Okay.
and that was $500,000.
Okay, awesome. Good. Thank you.
Will that be reflected in the, because that's,
On the gross revenue budget.
okay, so it is
Yes, sir.
reflected, because I remember Davey telling us about that, and I was sure that would show up at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was good.
Shows up as revenue? I would
I'm
imagine-
sorry?
Shows
Yeah.
up as revenue, I would imagine, right?
Yes.
It is a state grant revenue.
Right.
Anything else? Thank you, Shante.
Well, I did want to make mention of just a little bit on the special
Okay.
revenue side, if you don't mind.
Don't mind at all.
On your fire protection impact fees, we have collected so far 87% of the budget. On the municipal facilities impact fee, we've collected 72% of budget. Parks and recreation, 67% of budget. Accommodations tax local, 55%. Accommodation tax state. And just so that you'll know, we do receive funds for accommodations tax from the state of South Carolina. And it comes with a special process and a special recording that we must abide by. But we've collected 62% in that area. And then in hospitality tax, we've exceeded the budget by about 33%. We've collected $385,000 more than we budgeted for hospitality tax.
Why would you make that assumption with accommodations being down but hospitality being up?
Hospitality is your food vendors.
Yeah,
A-tax is heads and beds.
yeah. So people are stopping by, but they're not staying.
That's it.
Okay. All right.
Have you seen any slowdown in permits now that the discount fees for impact fees were increased about a year ago, or things on the commercial side? Remember when we adjusted
Right.
muni and fire?
To my knowledge, we've not seen any type of slowdown in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Since we're talking about hospitality tax, how do we operate with the B&Bs as they're popping up around town? I mean, do they come in and apply for a license to operate B&Bs, or?
Yeah, I do not know the answer to that. I'd have to go in.
Reason I'm asking, because I just heard there's 2 more in my neighborhood that's fixing to pop up for B&B.
That's something I can track down and report back to you.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shante.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shante.
Moving on, presentation number 3, Parks and Recreation Month, Brown Simpson, our expert.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and members of council. It is my opportunity to be here tonight with you, and I think we got a proclamation, but I'll go through and do a report with you first. We did want to, first of all, let me say, on behalf of our department, the Parks and Recreation Department, we want to thank each and every one of you for the support that you all give to us. We appreciate that, and whether it's from any type of programs that we have to fund or facilities, we thank you for that. So I did want to run through, I put a report together for you from a recreation standpoint, just kind of go through where we are with programs so far this year, fiscal year from October of last year to where we are right now. I did break it down into 3 different segments: Town of Fort Mill residents, York County residents, and of course with our geographical location here in Fort Mill, out of county / state, with us being close to the North Carolina line and also close to Lancaster County from the Panhandle area of Indian Land. We do offer different types of programs, and I'll just go through those. We offer adult slow pitch softball, which we're in right now. We have 28 teams in that program. We offer tennis lessons throughout the year, and we've been challenged with that, but we'll talk a little bit about that later with the partnership we have with Fort Mill School District. Our recreation youth sports, we offer baseball, which starts at the T-ball level, slugger, and then moves up to coach pitch, AAA, Ozone, and then also Dixie Boys, which is the 13 and 14-year-olds. Basketball, starting at ages 4 up to ages 15. Softball, we had one of our softball teams in here tonight. We're appreciative of all that program does. Flag football, soccer, and then volleyball. All those programs are offered throughout the year. Volleyball is only offered during the spring. And I will have to say, if there's one program that I'm proud of with the growth that we've had this past year, it's been our girls volleyball program. We changed the format of that, the way we actually ran the program, and it was a huge success. And really, really proud of that. We have different types of summer camps during the summer. Kids on the Ball, we offer 5 sessions of that. Tennis camps, which we've got going on right now. We have a pickleball camp that we started this week. Baseball camp, basketball, and then we have 2 sessions of soccer camps also too. And then pickleball is a program that we have mainly for adults, but we have offered youth lessons also too. I said we started that actually today. Pickleball, we have folks that play every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings down at the Fort Mill Community Center. And we have a strong amount of folks that participate in that. You can see the 3 different areas that we draw from with the town, York County, and out of county / state. I want to move in next to, so far this year, we rented the gym 39 times. We've had 55 field rentals, which includes some sports tourism tournaments. Our park shelter / gazebo rentals are at 101 so far this year for a total of 195 rentals. We have corporate business sponsors. We've got 38 of those. We offer a program of seasonal of $350 for a business, or we have offer for the whole year $1,000. So we've got about 35 $1,000 sponsors, which we're really proud of. And we appreciate all the businesses that take part of that and want to be a part of that. We have 11 full-time staff that work hard every day. We've got 18 part-time staff members, which include some park maintenance folks and some programmers work for us seasonally. And then we have over 400 volunteer coaches throughout the year. So very appreciative of the time that is given by our volunteers. We could not run a lot of our programs without our volunteers. We do background checks once a year on all of our volunteers. And of course, we offer some training with them also too. Our Parks and Recreation staff assists with town special events at the amphitheater throughout the year. We're proud to be a part of that. Proud to have the teamwork that we have with Chicana, Chris, and their team, and Dina. And a lot of good things are happening at the amphitheater in Elijah Park. I think y'all witnessed that last Monday night. With the good things that's happening there. We do have 10 traditional parks here in Fort Mill. We did open a new playground in April of this year at Walter Y. Elijah Park, and y'all can see daily that that's getting a lot of use, and so we're very proud of that. We opened Banks Athletic Park in October of last year. I will tell you, we hosted, I know y'all are aware of this, Mr. Helms was there. We hosted the District 2 Coach Pitch Dixie baseball tournament a couple weeks ago. We ran that Saturday through Thursday. We got rained out on Sunday afternoon, but we had great crowds for that. We had folks from Gaffney, from Union, from the east side of Spartanburg over the Bowling Springs area, Lancaster, York, Clover, Rock Hill, all came to Fort Mill every day. And we got a lot of nice comments on that. So that is something that we ought to be proud of, that whole facility and everything. So just wanted to mention that to you. The new tennis / pickleball facility out at the complex is under construction. We'll be excited when that project is finished, and I think that will be a huge hit here in Fort Mill for our residents to be able to use that. And then the other thing,
Brown,
I
do you
think
have an update on that? Because that's the question I get every Sunday is when, and I see why, because there's 1,500 pickleball in Fort Mill, 1,000 in the county, and that's 3,500 people waiting for pickleball.
The pickleball facility, we're working on it right now, making the 2 courts into 8 courts. Hopefully that'll be done here 2 or 3 weeks, and then hopefully the tennis courts. Davey and I have been meeting with Court 1 on that, and we hope that project will be underway next week, actually start demolishing the old courts. We have the lighting up, They're finishing the restroom facility / office, that's storage out there. So once we finish up, that's gonna be a great facility. We've got a lot of good years out of those tennis courts.
Oh, yeah, that's when I get the question, when's it supposed to be open this date? So I just keep pushing it. Now I'm like, they're working on it, I'm just curious.
We're pushing them as hard as we can,
Yeah.
Councilman Wolf, we really are, so.
Thank you.
So what's the estimated date?
Right now, the estimated date for pickleball, we're still a few weeks away.
Yeah.
If weather
Permitting.
I plan to give a facilities update at the next meeting for this
Okay.
facility. There's been a lot of moving parts with it. But I was out there earlier today, and they were concreting in the post for each of the new, for the netting and all
Nettings.
there and fencing. So they're well on their way. I think once they get that in, they'll put down the acrylic base, if you will, for the courts, and then paint them, and we'll be ready to turn that over. I think it appears that the last part of this project will be fencing. Just they've got to renovate the fencing that's there, kind of refurbish it.
Well, obviously, we want to do it right, and I know you can't control the schedule, but that is one I get religiously, to pick it the right word, but, they're like, just so curious. So there's a lot of excitement about that facility.
Right. The good news is we will be able to open those prior to the tennis courts being completed.
Oh,
So
good.
Once the pickleball courts are completed, we'll make sure we petition off the construction area so that we can open up the pickleball courts for use.
Do we have any plans to do any sort of announcement of that, or opening, or ribbon cutting, or?
We do. We will make sure we do that. It might just be better to have them all at the same time rather than one for just the pickleball and then one for the tennis court. So the restroom facility is very close to completion, but believe it or not, there's still some items that have been ordered for it. It has been a challenge. It's been between the weather and the supply chain, it's been challenging, but we're very close to the restroom facility being completed and the pickleball being completed.
So a question.
Will we control those, or will the Y control those?
That will be town controlled. I mean, it's for the public use.
With that, can we make it a point to emphasize that it is a town facility? Because, there's so many people, honestly, I was one of those as well, that think that's a complex facility, so not a town facility.
We will promote it well.
So given that we're on recording, the pickleball portion of this, again, 3,000 people that we're saying are participating, are these just pickup leagues, or do you have to sign up for it? Or can you give us, pickleball's new for us. What does our pickleball program look like today?
We're averaging around 60 folks, men and women, 18 and above, that are playing at the Fort Mill Community Center a week, somewhere around there.
And is that a pickup game? Or
It's
is-
pickup, yeah. They
Okay.
can come in and participate, play, and they pay a minimum amount to participate, and they play from 9 in the morning to usually 12:30 in the afternoon. And people love it. It's
Gotcha.
very, they enjoy it and love it. So it's been a great game. It's one that's taken off across the country, big time. And I think when we open these courts the outside courts, they will be well used.
So will we have any type of a sign-up genius or a way that you can reserve a court in advance? Because given the popularity, you're going to have, the success is going to give you a lot of challenges.
Yes.
How are we prepared to deal with that?
We're
We
gonna,
will be.
yeah, we'll need to coordinate what that's gonna look like with the tennis instructor / pickleball instructor, because there'll be times where they'll be providing lessons, and then there'll be open court times. So we'll have to coordinate that and advertise it properly. So I would imagine, we could have sign-up times, or it could just be come and wait. I've heard of pickleball facilities, it's just stand in line until your court is open, but we can
It
look
just
into
seems
that.
like it kind of, to Councilman Garrison's point, is that we're getting close to completion. We ought to have a plan in place so that when we're communicating and bragging about this, we have a plan in place of how they're going to be able to use it.
We will have a plan in
And what the
place.
fees are involved with it and everything else, especially given you've got half of the people using it are out of the town. You know, it's not fair for town citizens to be paying the same thing for out-of-town people. You know, it's one of those discussions we've had with Parks and Rec, but again, it would be great if the citizens of Fort Mill would get some priority to registering for being able to use these courts. But I'm curious and can't wait till you guys present to us or give us information about what others are doing and how we're going to do this prior to us opening it.
We'll get that information for you. I know Field Day Park up at Lake Wiley, they've got, I think it's eight to 10 pickleball courts that stand alone, and they've got a process they work through. We'll kind of
as popular as it is, it shouldn't be real hard to find common ground for that.
I'm
Also,
just glad they're opening because I'm tired of my wife asking me, ask Brown and Davy when those courts are opening. So
Can I just mention one other thing? I did want to mention the Fort Mill School District. We've got a joint use agreement with facilities there. Can't thank them enough for working with them, Dr. Epps and his staff. And then also too, I want to mention too, the YMCA of Upper Palmetto. We've got a great partnership with them. We were challenged this year with this summer with not having tennis courts available to do our programs, and we've been able to utilize Fort Mill High School. And one of the things that we had to have some transportation for our full day kids from there back over to the complex to swim, and the YMCA of Upper Palmetto stepped up and let us use one of their buses. Wow, and so we were very appreciative of them, Kurt, Ike and his staff, and I just wanted to mention them also too.
And we have CDL drivers for those buses?
It's a 15-passenger bus, so we don't have to have it, but we got them covered under insurance.
Perfect, thank you. On the recreation sports that we're offering today, volleyball, you mentioned girls. I've heard a little talk happening that some of the schools are considering a men's volleyball league, similar to the Olympics. Is that something we're prepared to help support?
When that time comes, if we offer a boys program, we will, and it is true, the South Carolina High School League started last year offering boys volleyball at the high school level, and I know Fort Mill, Nation Forward, I think Catawba Ridge are going to have teams this year. So yeah, that's something that we haven't had that need come to us yet, but that would be something that we could definitely look at and offer into that program that we got in the spring.
Okay, perfect. And then when you look at how much we rented out the fields, the Dixie program that you said just use it, are we sending out official surveys? I know you said you got good feedback, but do we have true KPIs that we're getting from these events to where we can measure where we're doing well, where we can improve? Have we sent out those surveys to those groups and those parents?
We have. For our springs, we did. We've got that. We can get that information to you, to you guys. But we've got that. We're compiling all that information right now, but we'll get that to y'all.
Yeah, and especially for when they're renting out facilities for these big tournaments, that's fresh eyes coming to Fort Mill that may have never been here before. So I think they'll look at it as with a different perspective than what you get from somebody who's been in a rec program, every year and they're used to the same old. These people will be able to compare what they've seen in other locations and give us some better feedback.
I will tell you this, like I said, we did get, when we hosted the Coach Pitch tournament for 5 days, we got great reviews from folks that came in from out of town that said, wow, what a great facility. Y'all were very fortunate to have this. So, and that all goes back to you guys approving this type of things for our residents and being able to do things like that. So we wanted to host a Coach Pitch All-Stars. I know we wanted a couple years ago on the national level, the World Series and everything, and we'd always gone to other facilities. And I told the guys, I said, this would be a great time to host this when we got a brand new facility like that. So
the only comment I heard was more bleachers.
Yeah, it was tight. We used 2 fields because of the age group and the fence distance. So,
the 400 volunteers, the 400 volunteer coaches, that's amazing. And like you said, without them, we don't have anything.
Right.
In particular, Dan Kelly is a coach of the Fort Mill Vipers, which was my son's team. That they won the York County Dixie 14U county championship this year. So, but the dedication that I know just those 4 coaches put in there, it's like another job for them, and they do it just for the love of the game and for the kids. So, thank you to all the coaches.
Yeah, I noticed one of the budget overages, I think it wasn't by much, but was for
Background checks,
background checks. And so I think it's important that that is one of those things. We're okay with a little bit extra money.
Absolutely.
Helping to keep the kids safe and having a lot of extra volunteers we hadn't counted on. So pull from contingency anytime you need to for that. So, awesome.
I'd like to mention too, we've got a great working relationship with the other recreation departments here in the county also too, the city of Rock Hill, city of TKK, town of Clover, and the city of York. So we play a lot of our rec sports with those departments and everything. So I just want to mention them too. The great working relationship we have with those folks.
It was a great,
those communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, as we look, I know we've got facilities discussions coming up soon, but part of what we talked about and challenged was, can we grow our programs, particularly in the age groups? You know, we've got a lot more 55 and older communities. We have good turnout for the adult programs we have. What else can we do to provide for them? Because again, they're going to use facilities during the daytime, as you said, with the pickleball, that aren't being used for youth sports. So getting the most out of those facilities, you know, can we start doing that at the complex now or some other areas to just make sure we're engaging with the total population and not just working on the youth?
And to add on to that, kickball.
Yes.
That would be amazing. During our championship game, there was somebody had rented one of the fields, and they were having an absolute blast. We all wanted to leave the baseball game and go over to the kickball over there.
That is a program we're looking at.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, TKK's on it for years and had good turnout with it.
So that'd be great to get for adult engagement. So.
Thanks for all you do too.
Thank you.
There's a lot that you do. You wear a lot of hats, Christmas parade and all that good stuff, coordinating that. So appreciate what you do.
You know, we've got a great staff that, I was talking to Coach Weldon, and he was talking about one of our recreation coordinators, Travis, who, Alan, you've worked with and everything, and we've got a staff that cares. And I think that goes a long ways with what you see in the results and everything. So, but like I said, once again, we're appreciative of everything that y'all have done to help us with this. You know, I've been here 19 and a half years. When I came here 19 and a half years ago, we didn't have a recreation department. So Springs did it all. So we've come a long ways, but we appreciate all the support that we get, not only from you, but from our town manager, assistant town manager, and everyone else. It's a big team.
Yeah, Davey, I would challenge staff to make sure we're doing surveys on a regular basis. We're doing sports every day. We should be getting good feedback and communicating with us. We've asked for it for years, and with the investment we need to make in facilities, we need the data to support it. So if we can make that a priority, please. I see Mr. Sardelli's sitting right behind you, so I know he's capable of making it happen. Thank you.
So we read the proclamation?
So, yeah. Mr.
Pro Tem.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me read, huh?
Every bit of it.
Welcome to leadership.
Proclamation, Town of Fort Mill, South Carolina, proclamation designating destination of July as Park and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation are an inaugural part of the communities throughout this country, including the Town of Fort Mill, and whereas Parks and Recreation promote health, wellness, improving physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promote time spent in nature where positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourage physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking, trails, and many other activities designated to promote active lifestyles, and whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, environmental education are critical to the child development, and whereas Parks and Recreation increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, and attraction and retention of businesses and crime reduction, and whereas Parks and Recreation are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas Parks and Recreation are essential to adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient, into the face of natural disasters and climate change, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors, and whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as the Park and Recreation Month, and whereas the town of Fort Mill recognizes the benefit derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore it be resolved by the town that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brown.
I missed a part of that. Can you do that again?
No.
Thank you.
Good job, Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brown.
Thank you, Brown.
Good job, man.
Thank you, Brown.
Never read that much since high school. All right. Any other comments on Park and Recreation?
No, sir.
Moving on, new business item number 1, a resolution amending the Town of Fort Mill Personnel Manual so as to update the section related to town holidays. And our expert, Town Manager Davey Broom.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As management, we are very appreciative of our town staff, the work that they do and the efforts they provide on a daily basis. And in an effort to try to retain such wonderful teammates, from time to time, periodically, we will review our benefits to make sure that we're keeping up with our neighbors and or municipalities our size. So recently, we had reviewed the holidays policy that the town had and found that other municipalities, again, in our area, as well as municipalities our size across the state, were offering more observed holidays per calendar year than the town of Fort Mill. Had been quite some time since the town had updated our holiday policy. So I brought this information to council, and based on your request, I brought it back to you as a resolution to amend the personnel manual to increase the holidays from what was previously 10 observed holidays per year to 12 holidays beginning October 1st of 2023. It falls in line with our, even though it's not a calendar year, it falls in line with our fiscal budget year, which allows us to properly prepare and budget for those additional holidays. What you'll see different in here, I think, is page 44 of the personnel policy manual, but it might be 55 for the document that you were sent.
It is.
We've updated the 1 through 12. You will see the spring holiday has been removed from the official holiday, and 3 floating holidays have been added for a total of 12. 9 observed holidays with 3 floating holidays. Again, those would be approved by supervisors and our department heads based on need in their departments. And so that's one part of the update of this personnel policy manual. The other pertains to pay for those time frames, for those holidays. So in the first paragraph, under general information, the change has been reflected to show that employees on an 8-hour shift would be compensated 8 hours for holiday pay on that holiday, and as well as the floating holiday that they would like to take. Employees that operate on a 12-hour or 24-hour shift, their pay would be reflected as 12 hours holiday pay for that holiday, whether they work it or not. So those are the only changes to the policy itself, but most of town staff is on an 8-hour holiday, but it does help our police department, our fire departments that do operate on extended hours or shifts rather than 8 hours.
Well, thank you for bringing this to us officially, because I know we've discussed it previously, and it puts us more in line with the local municipalities around us. And also, I think floating holidays is that's the way we dealt with it in the industry is now, because there's the standard holidays aren't what they used to be. So there's a lot of new ones, so it gives the flexibility for people to take the time off. Also, there's a benefit to the town actually will not have to shut down on certain dates. So I think like Easter Monday or Friday is a good opportunity you'll have staff to run both days. So I think it's a very timely update.
Like we mentioned before, the fact that our Easter observance was on Monday, but yet a lot of times the school was out on Friday, not Monday. Now it gives people that flexibility to accommodate their children who may be in or not in school. So,
and I do like where it's as approved by supervisors as well. Everybody can't take the day off at the same time when we're running a business, so I think that's pretty standard. So, but
perfect.
It's a good solid review. Appreciate what you guys did on that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for your
so we need to make a motion on this one to accept this one.
Yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve new business item number 1.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? I think that concludes our line items. No executive sessions for the good of the whole. Mr. Ben?
I think we're probably going to all chime in on this. I get to take it first, I guess. It was so cool when we turned to do that Pledge of Allegiance. All the kids, hearing them recite that. I mean, I'm trying to think of meetings we've had with a lot of adults in here. We've still not heard a solid pledge like that. So that was very, very cool. Yeah, it really was. They knew it too. I mean, I wanted to turn, but I didn't want to disrespect the flag. But it was cool to hear them. So that was exciting. But everything that was at the town, that's for at the park. This past week was great as well. I won't steal all that thunder. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, 4th of July celebration was great. Seeing the crowds out there, the weather cooperated. It was warm, but we made do. So thank you for again all town staff for making those events happen. It truly is. I mean, our town manager was out there handing out beads and everything else. So you were there the entire time. So thank you for all the work you put in there. I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Fort Mill Vipers, 14U Dixie York County champs. It's a long title, but again, thank you, Brown, for what you do. All the coaches and everything, and you guys are the fabric of the community. So thank you.
We were out of town for the 4th of July event, but still appreciate everything the town did. Seemed to be a great turnout and good feedback from what I saw. Davey, how long will we be leaving out the birthday cakes that were in front of the amphitheater? I noticed when I drove by yesterday they were still there.
They're designed for outdoor use.
Okay.
Where they're located now is a pretty good location for them. They have the ability to be moved around. They just need power sources if we're going to light them up at night.
Okay.
So we have the ability, we can move them around to whether it's town hall or put them back to back in the middle of the field. So we have the ability to move it, but right now, at least for next week or so, they serve pretty well right in front of the amphitheater.
Perfect. So if somebody still wants a picture with it, they can get out there and do that?
With it, yes.
Awesome.
They won't get ants either, so don't worry about that.
They don't?
No.
It's not sweet, not real sweet, not the cream cheese icing on it, huh? Awesome. But thank you to staff and everybody who put that effort in. I hope everyone was safe with all the fireworks. Sometimes being new to South Carolina, you may not understand all the issues and the benefits that come of being able to shoot your own fireworks here, but hopefully everybody was safe from that. So I do want to bring it up only because it was a safety issue my family ran into, and I want to make sure everybody's cognitive if you are traveling. We were on a plane heading to Florida and didn't realize it, but there was a gentleman sitting in the front seat, and this is near and dear to the police department, taking pictures of all the young ladies as they were coming on the flight. And again, this was a flight to Fort Lauderdale, so you got to figure there's a lot of young people going on there. And we had, thankfully, there were 9 of us, so, it was a bunch of us together. But there was concern that this guy's got somebody else on the other end once he lands, keeping an eye out where he's sending photos of, these people just got off the plane. So we happened to see it. We brought it to the attention of the flight attendant. But just be very vigilant, no matter where you are. I know our police department's great at keeping us safe here, but unfortunately I didn't have my team with me going to Florida. But just watch out for yourself. Always stay together and be vigilant for safety for everyone. So that's all for me.
Me? So I just got to follow up accolades to the staff, town staff and the events team, Public Works, the police, the fire, and all those involved. That was an amazing event on both July the 3rd and the 4th. I know everyone in attendance had an amazing time, and I wanted to publicly acknowledge all the work that goes behind it. People don't realize how much, Public Works and the police standing out there directing traffic, and they have to clean up afterwards and all that. And I've heard several funny stories about people didn't want to leave after the event. It was so good. So just goes to show you, I personally met many new residents and visitors and guests who just happened to show up for the event, and I had very positive feedback. I think it's very important that gathering and public celebrations are enjoyed by all, and also it serves as a prime example of what we mean by quality of life in Fort Mill. And I think it's important that we reflect very well. And it was a very safe environment, because you heard some areas didn't. So I always stopped to talk to the police and the Public Works, because standing out there for hours on end, and it's a lot. So thank you for everybody involved. It's a great event.
Yeah, and just piggyback on everybody else's comments, it's just small town America, even though we're not as small as we used to be, but having the July 4th celebrations and the out at the park, and you could space out a lot more out there. It was still hot, but not as hot as it probably would have been on that pavement. But it was really good. And I always say this: we should all be thankful for what we have in Fort Mill. There's a lot of little towns that don't have what we have. I was working on a grant, and I was on the phone with the mayor of Ridge Springs, South Carolina. I have 600 people, and I said, "Have you ever heard of the Bailey Bill?" And she said, "I have not." Or what about do y'all do a facade improvement program? And I was talking to her about those sort of things that we've done here. And look at our Main Street after we did the Bailey Bill, it really exploded. And but staff, you guys do a great job. Thank you for all you did tonight, putting together presentations for us, and for all you do to keep us safe. Thank you.
I also wanted to mention too, real quick, before we adjourn, thank you to Emmett's. I know recently Emmett's announced yesterday was their last day on Main Street. They were closing, and looking at a new
venue.
Renewed menu, renewed spirit, whatever theirs is going to be. But Emmett's was a great partner for us at the end of Main Street. They occupied that theater building, and it was beautiful. I know Ben and I had dinner there together one night. With our spouses. But just making sure I don't need that.
Thanks for clarifying that. Thank you.
Don't need that scandal. But yeah, great facility. It was a lot of fun having it, and I can't wait till they reopen with a refreshed, renewed spirit. Hopefully that's a little bit more profitable and makes sense for them for that small venue. So thank you to them.
I'll piggyback on everybody's comment too. The 4th of July celebration was great. I just hate I missed the 4th. But I appreciate Chris stepping up for me in my spot.
It was a boom.
He had practice the day before, so want to welcome Mr. Eric Davis, one of our new employees, to his first council meeting with us. And I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Hit that gavel. Hit the gavel.
Good job.
There you go.